Hikaru is a 39-year-old cancer patient whose life is so miserable. Even the Grim Reaper probably felt bad for him. One day, his wish finally comes true. His heart monitor flatlines. Game over. Except not really. Hikaru wakes up in a strange, glowing place. For a second, he thinks it's heaven. Then a god appears. The god explains that Hikaru's first life was such a tragedy. He's getting a do-over. A healthy body, a new start, whatever he wants. Now, most people would ask for power, wealth, maybe a hot elf girlfriend. But not Hikaru. This man asks to be a farmer. Out of all the options, he chooses manual labor. The god blinks, probably wondering if reincarnation was a mistake. Still, he grants the wish, and even tosses in a bonus gift, the almighty farming tool. A magical weapon that can turn into any farm tool ever. With that, Hikaru gets transported to a new world. He wakes up lying in a forest, feeling young, strong, and, well, ugly. Somehow, the god gave him a fresh start but downgraded his face. And his outfit looks like it came straight from a discount cosplay store. He shrugs it off and tests out his almighty farming tool. To his surprise, it's amazing. He can dig non-stop without getting tired. Finally, he can live a peaceful life, free from hospitals and pain. But peace doesn't last long. Hikaru realizes he has no food, no house, and no water source. Great start. He explores the forest and finds a big tree that looks sturdy enough to be home base. Using his farming tool, he starts digging for water, and actually finds some. Oh well, just like that. One problem solved. Next, he needs food. He's not hungry yet, but he knows it's coming. So he decides to hunt later. First, he wants a house. He chops trees like a pro, but when it comes to building, he realizes he has no idea what he's doing. Design, layout, stability. This man's never even built IKEA furniture before. By the time he finishes planning, the sun's already down. He tries summoning a flashlight, but apparently, that's not farm-related. So, he ends up sleeping in a hole in a tree, like some kind of forest raccoon. The next morning, Hikaru clears his land and starts preparing for farming. That's when a rabbit monster jumps out at him, ready to attack. Hikaru panics, swings the almighty farming tool, and one hit. The rabbit's gone. Turns out this farming tool is also great for self-defense. He uses the meat to make lunch, and then proudly builds his next big project, a toilet. It's not much at first, but he adds walls to make it classy. Slowly, he's turning survival into civilization. He starts cultivating the soil, but he doesn't even have seeds. Before he can look for any, plants suddenly start sprouting out of nowhere. Apparently, the almighty farming tool handles planting automatically. Farming hacks unlocked. Days pass. The crops grow fast, and Hikaru builds himself a proper log house. Halfway through, he gets tired and decides to dig the floor deeper instead of lifting logs higher. Efficiency, I guess. While tending to his farm, he spots two huge dogs nearby. At first, he thinks they're dangerous, but they're actually weak and starving. He feeds them and decides to keep them around. One of them, a female, has a big belly, probably pregnant. Soon enough, she gives birth, and Hikaru suddenly becomes a proud dog dad. He names the male dog Kuro and the female Yuki. The puppies are cute, and the dogs decide to stay with him permanently. Meanwhile, his crops are finally ready. They're tomatoes, juicy, fresh, and the first real meal of his new life. For once, he feels happy. Up in heaven, the god finally checks in on him, and realizes he accidentally dropped Hikaru in the forest of death. You know, the most dangerous place in the entire world. The god panics, but can't fix it because the rules say no interference. So he just waits for Hikaru to die again. Except Hikaru's doing great. The almighty farming tool lets him plant anything he imagines. Crops grow instantly, and he's basically turning the death forest into a peaceful farm zone. Feeling grateful, Hikaru builds a statue to honor the gods. Then he plants fruit trees, figuring it'll improve his diet in the long run. Sure, they usually take years to grow, but with his luck, they'll be ready next week. At this point, Hikaru's living the dream. A new home, loyal dogs, magic crops, and peace. Not bad for a guy who died wishing for an easy life. The twist: he's thriving in a forest that was supposed to kill him. So, time keeps rolling and Hiraku's living the introvert dream. Kuro and Yuki, the horn dogs, have basically become his emotional support squad. Without them, the guy would have gone full Tom Hanks in Castaway. They help him navigate through the forest until he eventually finds a river. Finally, running water. He's thrilled. No more digging random holes every time he's thirsty. For transport, he levels up again. The almighty farming tool transforms into a wheelbarrow that moves as fast as he wants without him breaking a sweat. Perfect for deliveries. Not so perfect for his spine because the forest roads are bumpier than his old hospital bed. Winter starts creeping in, and Hiraka realizes he's got a problem. His cozy little hut won't keep him warm forever. He tries using rabbit monster pelts, but they reek like death. So he sticks to staying inside with a fire going 24/7. It's not glamorous, but at least he's not freezing. Then one day, Hiraka meets a spider. Not the scary kind. Well, okay, still a little scary, but this one can spin high-quality cloth. He decides to recruit it. Congratulations. The farm now has a spider tailor named Zabuton. Zabuton spins up a stylish winter jacket for Hiraku, and even makes other cool furniture and home items. Who needs Gucci when you've got arachnid fashion on tap? Winter hits hard, but the squad holds it down. The dogs stay snuggled inside, and Zabuton disappears somewhere up in his web penthouse, probably sleeping through the cold season. Things are peaceful, until the loneliness sets in. Hiraku realizes he hasn't spoken to another human in ages. He starts worrying he might literally forget how to talk. His only conversations now are with his dogs, and they just stare back. Eventually, spring rolls around, and the forest comes alive again. The puppies have grown up, and, well, they do what young dogs do. Run off into the woods to find girlfriends. They actually succeed and return home proudly with their new partners. Hiraku's farm just turned into a dog daycare. Then there's Zabuton, who's been busy too. The spiders had babies. A whole bunch of them. Now there are even more tiny silk spinners hanging around the farm. Hiraku realizes he's going to have to produce way more food if he's going to feed this growing zoo. But just as he starts planning, Zabuton signals an alert. Something's wrong in the forest. Hiraku grabs his tool and heads out to investigate. After some searching, he finds a young girl trembling by a tree. She looks terrified and calls out for help. Hiraku, being the decent guy he is, runs over to help her, and the second he gets close, she bites him on the neck. It's unexpected, and judging by his reaction, it's not exactly unpleasant either. Before he can process what just happened, the girl starts transforming. Her clothes shift, she looks older, stronger, and definitely not normal. Kuro and Yuki immediately leap into action, barking and growling, ready to protect their master. Hiraku manages to calm them down, and the girl finally explains herself. Turns out she's a vampire who was starving and bid him to regain strength. She'd been wandering the forest after getting attacked by nobles while trying to research medicinal herbs. Hiraku, realizing she's not a threat, even offers her more blood to recover. Then he takes her back to his farm. She's amazed by the crops, completely blown away by the sight of actual tomatoes growing in a place like this. She takes a bite and looks like she's just tasted heaven. They spend the rest of the day hanging out, laughing, and talking. For Hiraku, it's the first time in ages he's had real human interaction, and it feels good. By sunset, she finally introduces herself as Lucy, the vampire researcher on the run. Hiraku watches as she pulls out some kind of glowing panel, clearly using magic. That's when it hits him. Yep, this world definitely has magic. He stares at her for a moment, realizing how rare it is to meet someone this pretty, this smart, and this not trying to kill him. Without thinking, he blurts out a proposal, asking her to stay with him forever. Lucy turns red, completely caught off guard. But after a moment of silence, she admits she doesn't have anywhere else to go, and accepts. The next morning, the cabin door swings open. Hiraku and Lucy step out, looking a little worn out from all the backshots last night, but definitely happy. Lucy stretches, looks around the farm, and asks what's on the agenda for the day. Hiraku says he was planning on checking on the fruit trees to see how they're growing. Lily says she'll join him, but she wants to freshen up first. After all that, they both sit down and start to discuss, but that's when Zabuton sounds the alarm. Hiraku already knows what that means, so he and Lily venture into the forest to see what that's about. Hiraku arrives and sees a scene that's all too familiar to him. A hot girl tied to a tree. On seeing Hiraku, she screams, asking him for help. Hiraku obviously unties her, and after he does, the girl uses her magic to freshen herself up. Meanwhile, Lily is silently trying to make a break for it, but the girl stops her, asking her to come over to her immediately. Apparently, they know each other. They both take her back to the hut where Hiraku comes to understand that she and Lily are in the same boat, both running away from the nobles. She introduces herself as Tia, an angel, and asks Lily who the guy with her is. Lily blushes while saying he's her husband. Hiraku blushes as well, mostly because this is the first time she has ever called him that. Tia is really surprised to hear that. That aside, Hiraku asks Tia why an angel like her was trying to track Lily down. Tia explains that first of all, angels are more warriors than purely holy beings. Aside from that, there's been a giant bounty placed on Lily because of all the damage she caused when she went on a rampage. Back then, Lily would spend all her time researching strange medicines and concoctions, and then as soon as something bothered her, she would just start blowing things up. The nobles got so angry at that they placed a bounty on her head. Hearing all this, Lily admits that she might have gone a little too far back then, but she's surprised to hear Tia actually knows about it, because Lily is not the kind of person to show any sign of weakness. Lily explains it's because she realized firsthand how weak she was when she faced Hiraku's dogs. That aside, she excitedly asks Tia if she wants to join them living in the forest. Tia hesitates for a few seconds, but ultimately agrees. That aside, Lily shows Tia around the entire farm and even introduces her to Zabuton, but she doesn't seem to be a fan of spiders. Tia is going to be helping with some of the farm work too. So after a long day of harvesting crops, she is exhausted. But Tia and Lily use their magic to clean themselves up instantly, which makes Hiraku wish he could really do that. They go inside, and Hiraku gives Tia a taste of the strawberry he harvested that day. Tia finds it very delicious, and adds that the farming work is a lot more fulfilling than she expected. That said, Tia makes up her mind and decides to stay here with them. In subsequent days, she begins helping them with the farming activities. Tia says she wants them to plant more strawberries, but Hiraku tells her that won't be possible because they don't have the farming capacity or enough people to harvest them in addition to their other crops. Tia suggests they get more help on the farm, but Hiraku doesn't think that would be a good idea. He reasons that if they grow too much, they wouldn't be able to eat all they've harvested. As they walk, Hiraku runs into more of Kuro and Yuki's grandpups. Grandpuppies because their own puppies went on to have puppies of their own. Zabuton's children have multiplied as well, but half of them decide to leave the forest to look for a better life, while the other half stay behind. Tia then speaks up, saying that she has a journey to embark on her own, but promises that she'll be back as soon as possible. At first, Hiraku worries that she's about to abandon him, just like Zabuton's kids did, but she reassures him not to worry, saying she'll return soon. A couple of days later, Tia comes back just as she promised, but this time she brings some elf girls along with her. The one in charge introduces herself as Lily, and all of them have similar names because they're closely related. Lily explains that they came here because Tia suggested they come and stay with Hiraku, so they ask if they can live here with them. Tia explains that the elves share a very sad backstory. They all used to live in a village far to the north, but their village was wiped out and their race was scattered. Ever since then, they've been searching for a place to settle down and call home. Without a place to settle, they won't be able to repopulate their race and might eventually go extinct. Because of this, they all beg Hiraku to let them stay with him. Hiraku thinks about it for a while and then tells them that there are already a lot of different species living here. So, as long as they promise to get along with everyone, it's fine. The elves agree but are curious about who the other species are. Lily shows them Zabuton, and all of the elves faint in fright. Now that the number of people living there has increased, Hiraku decides to start by making one big house for all of them to live in, since all 7 elves want to live together. Next, he makes a toilet and a garbage disposal area. The elves help with the construction, and in about 10 days, everything is complete. As Hiraku sees them all sitting in the dining area with smiles on their faces, he says he really hopes this place will become a space that is comfortable and safe for everyone. It doesn't take long for the elves to get accustomed to life on the farm. They begin harvesting crops and tasting them to figure out which ones they like and which ones they don't. One day, while Hiraku and Lily are segmenting crops, Hiraku is surprised to find out that even though Lily is an elf, she uses fire and eats meat. He's shocked because he always thought elves were creatures who lived in harmony with nature, only eating fruit from trees and refusing to wear anything made of metal. Upon hearing his thoughts, Lily's expression turns serious. She tells Hiraku that if he chooses to live like that, thinking elves are gentle tree dwellers, it won't be long before he's dead in this forest. The next day, Hiraku is about to begin his farming work for the day. But that's when Zabuton draws his attention and shows him the giant queen bee she caught. At first, Hiraku thought Zabuton would just eat it, but Zabuton says she wants to keep it as a pet. Hiraku doesn't have a problem with that, so he builds a house for the queen bee and her worker bees. The worker bees are normal-sized, while the queen bee is the only one who is large. After that, Hikaru spent more of his time digging the space for the reservoir. But the major problem for him was getting the water to the reservoir. That's when Lily gives him the idea of building a pipe that leads all the way from the river to the reservoir space. So with that idea, everyone begins working together in mass production mode. And after a little while, the pipe leading to the reservoir has successfully been built and connected as the water is seen flowing in. Some fishes get carried along, so Hikaru roasts them and decides they use them for their lunch. Tia and Lily see the fish Hikaru is using and recognize them to be a very ferocious species from the Forest of Death, so they wonder if it's even safe for them to eat it. Hikaru offers them to eat, but they refuse, saying he should take the first bite. Someone has to be the guinea pig, and it's definitely not going to be them. Hikaru tastes the fish and remarks, saying it's delicious. After that, Tia and Lily taste some and agree with Hikaru, saying it's delicious. Everyone ended up enjoying the fish, so he prepared all the fish he had and used it for their meal. They even ended up catching a lot more than they could eat at once, so they just preserved the rest with some salt and kept it in their pantry. Up next, now that they have a water reservoir, Hikaru decides to make a rice paddy where they would be able to harvest some rice. He starts out by digging a regular-looking farm plot. Then he fills both plots with water. He then asks for the help of the elves to plant each individual rice stalk. Not long before, the rice paddy is now fully grown and ready for harvest. It ended up growing a lot faster than Hikaru expected. Then after they harvest the rice using their sides and store the stalks in the house. But that's not the end of it. Hikaru spends the next hour threshing the rice until it's now become fine grains of rice. Lily and Tia observe the gruesome process involved in rice making and wonder whether it's even worth it at this point. but Hikaru assures them, saying it's very worth it. After that, Hikaru goes outside to cook the rice, and after it's done, he makes them into rice balls and serves them on a tray, asking Lily and Tia to give it a try. They all taste the rice balls and find it to be really delicious. He used the fish from earlier to make filling for the rice balls. Even though the elves end up eating all the rice balls, Hikaru is just happy to see that they liked it. Next time, he'll probably even do a different filling. The next day, after a long day of work at the rice paddy, everyone else uses their magic to clean themselves up, which makes Hikaru kinda jealous of them. So, because of that, he decides to make a bath. It shouldn't be that hard since he already made a waterway. That said, Hikaru begins construction. But after a little while, he realizes that a huge problem is where their bath water is going to go after they're done bathing. He doesn't think it would be right for them to just dump it back into the river. Hearing that, Tia comes up with the solution of using cleaner slimes to purify their bath water. Then they'll be able to use it again. On top of that, Tia believes the cleaner slimes would also be helpful when it comes to cleaning the bathrooms. Now, they don't have to do it themselves anymore. With that problem out of the way, they successfully construct the bath at the end of the day. Hikaru takes his clothes off to demonstrate how the bath is being used. So he goes inside and, first of all, rinses his body before he goes inside the tub to take a dip. On seeing that, all the girls get inside the bath with Hikaru, saying it feels nice taking a bath with him. This is the kind of thing Hikaru fantasized about in his former life. So all he can do is stay quiet. The next day, Lily brings some of the other elves from her village who ask Hikaru if it'll be okay for them to stay in the village like Lily is doing. Hikaru doesn't have any complaints, so he agrees. Lily suggests they immediately start making preparations to make a new house for the incoming elves to live in. Lily is really excited. She says she's really happy they're finally going to be able to repopulate their race. Hikaru isn't sure how they're going to make children since all the elves are girls, but he feels it's nice to see them so optimistic. Meanwhile, Kuro watches the scene and sees that Hikaru is already expanding his harem again. This makes him think back to how his life was so miserable before he met Hikaru. After he and his family got wrecked by a bear monster, they were badly injured and had no reason to keep going. But that's when they stumbled across Hikaru. At first, they thought he was just some weak human who'd die at the first sign of trouble. But after seeing the insane power that his farming tool had, they immediately started respecting him. Hikaru was kind enough to take them in as one of his own, and Kuro was especially grateful. What Hikaru didn't know was that their species were actually terrifying monsters called inferno wolves. Luckily, they had no intention of hurting him, so everything turned out fine. A few days later, their new and improved house was finally complete, now with extra space for the new elf residents. The place looked more like a mansion, and of course, Hikaru's room was the best since he's basically the founder of their village. The girls gave him a full tour, and he loved every part of it. Everyone had their own rooms, and he was happy to see how excited they were about it. Then he noticed a locked room. Naturally, curiosity won. He opened it and saw 2 beds joined together. Realizing what that meant, Hikaru just closed the door slowly and decided to pretend that room never existed. After the tour, Lily told him that if he wanted to change or add anything, she'd handle it right away. So for a finishing touch, Hikaru made 2 statues of Kuro and Zabuton in front of the house. Nice little decoration. The next day, Hikaru decided to make curry. He went to the farm with Tia and Lu to grab some ingredients, but as soon as they were done, the two ditched him because, apparently, cooking from scratch was too much effort. Classic. Hikaru started preparing the curry alone until Lily showed up and offered to help. Together they got the oil sizzling and the beef frying. Everything was going great until Hikaru realized he forgot the naan. He debated switching to rice, but his craving for naan was too strong, so he went for it. Even though it meant he had to make enough for everyone, including all the elves, time was short, so he rushed through it like his life depended on it. By the time the curry was ready, the smell filled the whole place. Tia and Lu came running, pretending they'd been there helping the whole time. When dinner was served, everyone agreed the curry and naan were amazing. Hikaru was just glad to see everyone enjoying the food. As winter started closing in, Hikaru and the others began preparing, storing vegetables, and preserving meat. One day, he saw Lu using her fire magic to smoke the meat, and thought how nice it'd be if he could use magic too. He tried, and failed miserably. That night, he admitted to Lily how useless he felt compared to everyone else who could use magic. But Lily told him he was actually the most impressive of them all, since he survived the deadly forest all on his own. That little compliment hit hard, and Hikaru's mood lifted instantly. Soon, winter arrived, and snow started piling up. Everyone stayed indoors, so Hikaru decided to make some board games, chess, mahjong, and reversi. After explaining the rules, Lu thought reversi looked way too easy. Tia quickly shut her down, saying the real challenge was in the strategy. That immediately turned into a heated match between them. Meanwhile, Lily and one of the elves were calmly playing their own game in another room, until Kuro walked in and casually pointed out a winning move. Hikaru was genuinely shocked that Kuro even knew how to play. After a while, the game started getting repetitive, so Hikaru made a bowling set just to switch things up. He tried showing off, but being a little rusty, he missed 2 pins. Still, everyone loved it. Somehow, every single game Hikaru introduced turned into a huge hit. The whole group spent their winter indoors, gaming and relaxing together. But before long, spring came. One morning, Hikaru and the girls were outside talking about their plans when Zabuton suddenly raised an alarm. They ran toward the sound and saw a massive wyvern flying straight toward the village. Lily and the elves rushed to the crops to protect what they could, while Tia and Lu froze, unsure of what to do. Hikaru knew running wasn't an option. The wyvern would just chase them from the sky. So he took out his farming tool, and right before their eyes, it transformed into a spear. Without hesitation, Hikaru launched it straight at the wyvern. The attack shattered the wyvern's barrier and took it down in a single strike. Everyone stood there in shock, realizing just how terrifyingly strong he actually was. After the battle, they put out the fires in the field. The crops were a bit damaged, but nothing major. Hikaru then decided to check out the wyvern's corpse, and the first thing that popped into his head, whether they could eat it. Turns out, wyvern meat is a high-class delicacy, so he made lunch out of it. Lu was surprised at how tender the meat was, expecting it to be tough and chewy. While eating, she turned to Tia and asked if she could block that kind of spear attack if it was aimed at her. Tia immediately said, no chance. The power was way beyond anything she could handle. Meanwhile, in the Demon Kingdom, one of the 4 great generals, Bezel, was holding a meeting. He told the others that a wyvern had been taken down with a single blow. The other generals, Randon and Gratz, were shocked. Randon straight up resigned on the spot, saying he wanted no part in dealing with a monster like that. Back in the forest, Hikaru started thinking about wine. Their meals were great, but missing a little something. So he gathered a bunch of grapes, tossed them into a huge barrel, and had the girls stomp on them to extract the juice. By the end of the day, they had 16 barrels of grape juice ready to ferment into wine. Meanwhile, up in the divine realm, the god who reincarnated Hikaru was getting absolutely chewed out by his daughter, the goddess of agriculture. She was furious that he dropped Hikaru into the forest of death by accident. The god tried to defend himself, saying Hikaru was actually doing great, but she wasn't buying it. Then she realized something even worse. He gave Hikaru a replica of the Holy Lance Grime, a weapon powerful enough to drain his life force and kill him. The god insisted Hikaru would be fine since he gave him a body with extreme regeneration. His daughter didn't care. She punished him by making him stand in the corner for 300 years to think about his mistakes. The next day, Zabuton raised another alarm. When they followed it, they found a girl tied to a tree. Lu immediately recognized her. It was her sister, Flora. Hikaru brought her back to the house, gave her a warm meal, and welcomed her to stay. Flora, just like Lu, was obsessed with research. After a few days, she went off to set up her own research area. About a month later, she came back, this time with a full squad of maids. The head maid, and bowed to Hikaru and explained that they all wished to live there with everyone else. And just like that, the village continued to grow, and basically tells Hikaru he can use their people however he wants, which, let's be honest, sounds like the setup for a management disaster. But then Flora's group rolls in with cows. Actual cows. And Hikaru's face lights up like it's Christmas morning because now they can finally make butter and cheese. Forget world domination. This man just unlocked breakfast. Then there's Tia, who starts feeling kind of useless. Everyone else showed up with their own squad, and she's standing there like the friend who forgot to bring snacks to movie night. Determined not to be left out, she marches into the forest and comes back with an army of angels and lizard men. Oh, and a chicken, which somehow is what gets Hikaru the most excited. Not the army, not the divine power, the chicken. Because now they'll have eggs. The village starts coming together fast. The angels take over security, basically turning into flying bodyguards. The lizard men handle all the heavy lifting, and their leader, Daga, gets a special scarf from Hikaru so he doesn't get mixed up with the others. Efficient leadership or just lazy eyesight? You decide. Then Lee shows up with even more elves, except there's something off. Every single one is a woman. Hikaru asks what happened to the male elves, and Lee just casually says most of them didn't survive, but don't worry, they'll just make more. Hikaru processes that for about half a second before deciding it's none of his business, and gives her the most awkward thumbs up imaginable. With all the newcomers, Hikaru realizes his little camps become an actual village. He names it the Great Tree Village and declares himself mayor, which is just fancy talk for guy who makes the hard decisions while everyone else does the work. That night, they throw a huge celebration. Music, dancing, and probably way too much drinking for people who just discovered cheese yesterday. Next morning, an angel reports that someone from the demon army is at the gate. Turns out it's Bezel, who says he's here to discuss the settlement. Hikaru, still riding the "I'm the mayor" high, steps up to handle it. Bezel gives him a gift, then drops the bombshell that all this land technically belongs to the Demon King. Hikaru starts thinking fast. This could end with eviction or taxes. So he offers to pay 10% tax, but only from the farm's profits, not the animals. Bezel freezes like his brain just blue-screened. For a moment, Hikaru wonders if he undersold too hard, but Bezel instantly agrees. They sign the deal, and just like that, the village officially becomes part of the Demon King's territory. After Bezel leaves, the girls tell Hikaru he basically just committed tax fraud in broad daylight. In a good way. The usual rate is 60 to 70%, and he locked it in at 10. Not bad for a guy who thought, mayor meant guy who names cows. Meanwhile, Bezel returns to the Demon Kingdom to report, and every general there is panicking. He explains that the village is backed by a vampire princess, an angel of annihilation, and a pack of inferno wolves. Hearing that, the generals basically agree that 10% is better than dying. One of them even quits on the spot. Then, out of nowhere, the Lord of Dragons himself, Dime, shows up at Great Tree Village with a shiny sword as a gift. Hikaru thanks him and asks why he came all this way. Dime says he lives nearby and just wanted to drop by. They sit down for drinks, and Dime ends up getting absolutely hammered, starts yelling that he's never leaving. His servant has to talk him down, reminding him that living there forever would just make him everyone's problem. So he sobers up, mutters something about bad decisions, and flies home. The next day, Hikaru reflects on it all. As much as he likes meeting new people, he realizes random guests dropping in unannounced could get annoying fast. So he decides they'll build a guest house big enough for 30 people, somewhere to keep visitors comfortable and out of everyone's way. They even set up a new system. Zabin rings a bell when guests arrive, and smashes a slab if enemies show up. A literal doorbell and panic alarm combo. They also form a welcome party to greet future visitors. Everything's running smoothly until, surprise, a group of beastmen show up. Lou goes to greet them, but immediately senses something's off, because of course, the moment everything's peaceful, something sketchy walks out of the woods. Lou notices a few of them hiding in the woods like they're trying to sneak into a concert. Their leader, Garf, quickly apologizes and says those two followed him without permission. Lou accepts it, but warns them to behave while they're here. Inside, the beastmen are amazed by how nice the guest house looks, but the girls stay suspicious. First, the beastmen didn't bring any gift like other guests did. Second, those two were literally hiding in the forest. So the girls decide to play it safe and give them a pretty weak meal. Hikaru feels a bit bad about it, but he goes along anyway. Later, they find out the beastmen weren't trying to trick anyone. They actually came to talk about trade. Garf explains that their village isn't in a money trade, but more of a you bring stuff, we bring stuff kind of deal. He asks if Hikaru's people could come to their village instead since traveling here was too hard. The beastmen sell things like paint, silverware, and glass. Hikaru's eyes light up, and he says he wants to buy everything. They make a deal, and Dime even offers to handle deliveries in exchange for a barrel of wine. Since Hikaru can't leave the village, Tia volunteers to go. A few days later, she comes back with Dime and says everything went great. The trade worked out, and the Beastman's mayor even asked if some of their people could move into Great Tree Village. Hikaru agrees, thinking more workers would help, until Tia mentions it's 20 teenage girls. Hikaru freezes. Their village is already mostly women. If this keeps up, the future's looking complicated. So he says he'll only accept them if they also send at least 2 young men. Soon after, the Beastmen arrive. Their leader, a nervous teenage girl named Sina, greets Hikaru and says he can use her however he wants, as long as he doesn't abandon her. Hikaru just smiles and tells her not to worry about that. She smiles back, finally relaxing. When Hikaru asks about the boys, Sina brings out 2 of them, but they're only 11. Still, Hikaru decides they'll be important for the village's future. At first, the Beastmen think they'll be treated badly, but everyone in the village is kind to them. They start fitting in, even if it's a little awkward living with so many different races. One day, Hikaru's watching the Beast Kids play when the ground suddenly starts shaking. An angel rushes over, saying it's a bear and a giant viper fighting nearby. The angel asks if they should stop it, while Hikaru's just wondering if either of them would taste good. The angel flies him over, and Hikaru finishes the fight with 1 hit. Just like that, both beasts are down. Everyone's shocked by how strong he is. They take the animals back, cook the meat, and the viper tastes like chicken. So Hikaru decides to make mayonnaise for dipping. Flora tries it and says it's amazing. Next, Hikaru and Flora start working on miso. They roll the mix into balls, store them in barrels, and leave them to ferment. That's when Lou shows up to say new visitors have arrived. This time, a group of elder dwarves led by a rough-looking guy named Donovan. They'd heard about Great Tree Village's good wine and want to try it. Hikaru's down to share, but Lou says they can't just give it for free. Donovan says they don't have money, but they can trade knowledge instead. They show the village how to turn crops into alcohol, using distillation, and even make corn whiskey on spot. Hikaru tries it, too strong but legit. They make a deal, and the dwarves officially join the village. To celebrate, they throw a big party. Hikaru's extra happy because finally, there's some men around. Maybe now the elves won't have to worry about the future. During the party, Hikaru asks Donovan if any woman here caught his eye. Donovan laughs and says they're all beautiful, but not his type. He likes women with big beards. Hikaru just gives up on that topic immediately. The next day, Hikaru sees a dragon flying toward the village and instantly prepares to fight. But Dime shows up first and handles it. Just when Hikaru relaxes, another dragon appears. Thinking it's an attack, Hikaru throws his spear, almost hitting it, until Dime's servant yells for him to stop. Turns out those two dragons are Dime's wife and daughter. After transforming into their human forms, the wife, Grafalun, says she thought Dime was cheating because he'd been sneaking out at night. Hikaru quickly clears it up, explaining Dime was just coming to the village to drink. Grafalun realizes her mistake and apologizes. Later, Dime tells her that keeping good relations with Great Tree Village is very important. They're powerful enough to cause real trouble if they ever became enemies. Hearing that, Grafalun decides to let their daughter, Lasti, stay in the village for a while to learn and strengthen their bond. Hikaru agrees and welcomes her, though not everyone's thrilled about living next to a dragon girl. So, Hikaru decides to put Lasti in charge of dealing with visitors. And honestly, that turns out to be the smartest move ever. Because the moment Bezel shows up and sees her, man practically forgets how to breathe. He's so scared he agrees to every deal without even blinking. Hikaru just smirks like, yep, perfect choice. Bezel runs back to the Demon Kingdom like he just survived a horror movie and reports everything. The generals start panicking because apparently, the Great Tree Village now has dragons backing them. To spy on them, Bezel sends his daughter Florum. When Florum arrives, the villagers welcome her with open arms since her dad already mentioned she'd be staying. She starts checking out the place, trying to measure their strength, and what she finds blows her mind. These people are strong enough to destroy the whole Demon Kingdom if they wanted to. Then she finds out the village mayor, the one leading all this power, is a human, Hikaru. And when Lasti warns her not to underestimate him, saying he could even fight her mom, Florum's respect level goes from 0 to worship. After that, she talks to Hikaru like he's royalty. A few weeks later, autumn rolls in, everyone's in good spirits, and the smell of food is everywhere. But halfway through breakfast prep, they realize, no seafood. Lou remembers she knows a merchant who can fix that, so they set off south. 3 days later, the top merchant from Shishido City shows up. His name's Michael, and he's basically like, hey, thanks for calling me. I've got fish, squid, and everything you could ever want. Hikaru's thrilled. Michael says he came for 3 things. To thank Hikaru, to talk about more business, and to ask to be their official trade partner. Basically, he wants to be the only guy who handles all their deals. His reasoning makes sense, so Hikaru agrees. After sealing the deal, Michael leaves riding one of their dragons. But as soon as he's out of sight, he drops his fake confidence and starts shaking in the air, just happy he made it out alive. Back in the village, Hikaru cooks up a seafood feast. Everyone's happy, until another dragon shows up and starts attacking. Hikaru doesn't even flinch. He takes his spear, drops the dragon in seconds, and goes to check the body. But surprise, it transforms into a woman. Turns out she's Dime's older sister, Hakarine. She admits she came because she heard Dime drunkenly say he'd give his daughter to Hikaru as a bride. Hikaru's like, what? Dime awkwardly confirms it, saying he was drunk. Hakarine laughs, and says she wanted to test Hikaru's strength first. Hikaru lets it slide, but makes her clean up the mess she caused. After that, she joins everyone for dinner and fits right in. Then she mentions she's heard about this game they play called Mount. She wants to try it. Hikaru assumes she doesn't know the rules, but she's like, nah, I'll figure it out. To make things fun, she suggests they bet something on it. Hikaru says he's got nothing to bet, so they all agree to play strip mahjong, where the loser of each round would have to take off a piece of clothing. And just like that, the game begins, with everyone suddenly acting way too serious for a card game. Hikaru notices something weird though. Hakarine is completely new to the game. She's also wearing the least clothing out of everyone. Yet somehow, she's playing like she's the final boss of mahjong. Meanwhile, poor Hikaru's out here trying to stack points, but no matter what he does, he just keeps losing. Before long, he's sitting there in nothing but his underwear, questioning every life decision that led to this moment. He starts thinking maybe Hakarine's cheating with magic, but nobody else seems to notice, so he just suffers in silence. Finally, the perfect move shows up. If he plays this right, he can flip the whole game in his favor. So, with full confidence, he slams his tile down, only to instantly ruin his plan. Another loss. The girls don't waste a second chanting for him to strip again. And since Hikaru's a man of his word, he does it. Now he's standing there, completely exposed, holding on to the last shred of his dignity. Meanwhile, back in the Demon Kingdom, things are getting tense. Bezel and the generals are losing it because the Great Tree Village just gained Hakarine, a dragon known for her insane strength. They know they can't win a fight against that. Then Galgardo starts complaining about his daughter acting strange lately. Randon doesn't even bother pretending. He just leaves a resignation letter and disappears. Back in the village, Hakarine's fitting right in. She decides to stay for a while, and Hikaru's shocked by how capable she is. She can handle almost any job. The only problem, she won't stop complaining. Ironically, she ends up teaching the kids how to read, write, and even do math. Not bad for someone who started a fight on arrival. One day, a group of Lamia girls suddenly show up. Yeah, the half-snake kind. And they're all, well, very underdressed. They explain that a bunch of monsters took over their dungeon, forcing them to flee. Now they're here begging for help. Hikaru agrees to help out, but tells them they need to wear something. So he gives them some fabric, and they tie it around themselves as makeshift tops. It's progress. In exchange for the village's crops, they'll trade gems they mine from their home. Eventually, they even start a delivery service between the two communities. Business is booming, and Hikaru starts to feel like the village is really leveling up. But while he's busy building paradise, the Demon Kingdom is losing its mind. Princess Yuri hears rumors that Florum's being held hostage in the Great Tree Village. Fueled by lies and bad advice, she declares they'll attack to rescue her. Bezel rushes to the village to warn Florum about this nonsense. He tells her Yuri's army is preparing for war tomorrow. Florum calls the whole thing stupid. She knows their army wouldn't stand chance. Bezel agrees and says she's the only one who can stop it before disaster hits. The next day, when the demon army arrives, Florum sends out the Lamia girls to greet them. The moment the soldiers see these terrifying snake women, they freeze. Just like that, the fight's over before it even starts. Afterward, the three nobles who pushed Yuri into the invasion, Rosalind, Jolena, and Claycase, get dragged before Hikaru. Florum declares they'll stay in the village and work under his command, and if they cause trouble again, he has permission to dispose of them. That's all it takes for them to go pale and promise eternal good behavior. As for Yuri, she bows and submits, admitting she came only to observe. She tells Hikaru not to treat her like royalty, just another villager. So Florum gives her to her. Yuri's blown away by how peaceful and well-run the village is. Meanwhile, the other nobles hate every second of it. They're used to luxury, not farm life. That night, they even try to escape, but the wolves and spiders guarding the area quickly shut that plan down. Eventually, they give up and decide it's smarter to just behave. Over time, even they start to adapt. Yuri, on the other hand, genuinely enjoys the place. She even joins the beast kids in the fields, helping harvest crops. The farmers try to stop her, because she's technically a princess, but she insists on working. Says it's the first time she's felt alive in years. When it's finally time to go home, she thanks everyone and leaves with newfound respect for Hikaru and the villagers. As for the other girls, they end up liking the village so much they choose to stay longer. Yuri just smiles and lets them, returning to her kingdom alone. Not long after, the Great Tree Village starts their pre-winter harvest. The crops are overflowing, the storage can't even handle it all, and Hikaru can't help but feel proud. After the huge harvest, Lasty steps up and asks if she can send some of the extra food to her father. Hikaru thinks about it for a second, then nods. Right after that, Hakurin also asks to send supplies to her parents in the south, and Hikaru agrees again. A few days later, Hakurin returns, but not alone. With her comes a group of mountain elves who followed her, hoping to settle in the village. Their leader, a woman named Ya, explains that their food had run out and life in the mountains had become tough. Hearing this, Hikaru lets them stay. Ya's so grateful that she offers to sleep on the floor if she has to, but Hikaru refuses, saying he'll find proper housing for all of them. From that day, Ya works hard to repay the favor. The problem is she's a total disaster. Every time she tries to help, something goes wrong. One day, Hikaru casually mentions he needs clay for a project, and before he knows it, Ya disappears into the forest, saying she won't come back until she finds some. Hours later, she returns, proudly holding clay in her arms, and Hikaru's actually impressed. But she also brings unexpected news. While searching, she found a strange dungeon nearby, completely different from the Lamia's old one. Hikaru sends a small team to check it out, warning them not to do anything reckless. When they return, their report shocks everyone. The dungeon seems to house a blood viper, a monster known for its valuable meat. Some villagers immediately suggest forming a hunting party, but Hikaru stops them, saying the decision has to be made by the whole village. Soon after, winter arrives. But not everything's peaceful. Lu's been feeling sick, pale, and throwing up for days. At first, nobody knows why. Then it hits them. She's pregnant. The news spreads fast, and the whole village lights up with excitement. Hikaru can hardly believe it. Now that he's going to be a father, he starts taking things even more seriously. He makes sure Lu's comfortable, gives her extra care, and checks on her constantly. Lu just smiles and tells him not to worry so much. The next morning, and finishes preparing breakfast. But there's a problem. Too many people, not enough space. They have to eat in 3 shifts. Hikaru sits with the species leaders for the first group. During all this, the Angel Grand Marion arrives to deliver her daily report. She explains that some killer rabbits tried invading yesterday, but the wolves stopped them. To her, that's a win. More rabbit meat for everyone. While listening, Hikaru realizes something funny. The angels are always professional when working, but the second their duty ends, they become the laziest beings alive. Still, they keep the village safe, so he can't complain too much. By lunch, and the others serve another big meal. And Hikaru notices that most of the newcomers aren't used to eating 2 times a day. The elves especially look shocked, worried they'll run out of food. Hikaru assures them it's fine. Later, he decides to try planting tulips. Not for food, but just to make the place more beautiful. He also starts holding combat lessons for the younger villagers, just in case danger ever comes. That evening, dinner turns into another big event. The maids proudly serve a new dish they came up with. Hikaru takes a bite and nearly dies inside. It's terrible, but he keeps a straight face, gives him a thumbs up, and pretends it's great. After the meal, Floram approaches him with news. Princess Yuri sent a letter asking for more apples and some soft cloth clothes made from Zabuton silk. Floram's ready to scold her for being demanding, but Hikaru just shrugs it off, saying it's fine. Zabuton won't mind. Meanwhile, the dwarves report they need 3 times more grapes to improve their wine. Hikaru heads out to inspect the fields, wondering how to increase production, until Sina runs up, saying a strange man has appeared in the village. When Hikaru arrives, he sees the man bowing in front of the god statues. Somehow, he got him without anyone noticing. Lu takes one look at him and freezes. It's Vargreif, the progenitor of vampires. Varg greets Lu warmly, then sits with Hikaru to explain why he's here. He heard she was pregnant and came to see it for himself. He never thought Lu would settle down with a human, but seeing her now, he admits he was wrong. Curious, Hikaru asks what progenitor means. Lu says it's basically the ancestor of all vampires. Var adds that he's over 4,000 years old and stays sane by erasing parts of his own memory once in a while, keeping only the basics like his name. Hikaru finds the idea terrifying, but Var insists it works. He apologizes for arriving uninvited, and says he only came because he sensed something divine in the village. When he saw the statue, he felt like he was in the presence of God again, something he'd forgotten long ago. It becomes clear he wants the statue, but Hikaru refuses, saying it belongs to everyone. Instead, he offers to make a new one just for him. By the end of the day, Hikaru finishes carving a new statue and gifts it to Various. When Var tries to pay, Hikaru declines, saying it would feel wrong to put a price on God. Vargreif returns home with the statue, replaces his old one, and orders that Hikaru's name not be spread publicly, out of respect for his wish to live quietly. Still, he ensures the village will be honored. As a final gift, he sends him a grand piano to celebrate Lu's pregnancy. When it arrives, the entire village gathers around, amazed by the instrument's beauty. Life in the village continued peacefully. Everyone was still looking after Lu, who was pregnant. Lu kept reassuring them she was fine, but the villagers wanted to make things easier for her. The one thing Lu missed was drinking alcohol. The villagers thought about selling all the alcohol so she wouldn't feel tempted, but Hikaru stopped them. Instead, he suggested storing it underground until she could drink again. Everyone agreed. It was a smarter plan. Meanwhile, Donovan and the dwarves noticed nobody was drinking and worried they had done something wrong with the brew. Hikaru explained that the villagers were just supporting Lu by not drinking, and the dwarves were touched. It motivated them to work even harder for the village. The next day, Lu rested while everyone visited her with gifts, food, clothes, and baby items. By evening, she started to feel uncomfortable. That's when she realized her water had broken. The house quickly prepared hot water, towels, and everything for the delivery. Hikaru, unable to watch, chose to sleep outside in the tree hole he had first made when he came to this world. The next morning, Hikaru entered the house and saw Lu holding their newborn son. Filled with emotion, he held the baby for the first time. They decided to name him Alfred, a name Lu picked herself. A week passed, and Hikaru reflected on how far the village had come. From loneliness and uncertainty, he now had friends, family, and a thriving community. Grateful to the gods, he decided to do something to thank everyone. The next day, he called a village meeting and introduced a new system, a silver coin to be used as the official currency. Hikaru had made each coin by hand to prevent counterfeiting. Everyone was excited and quickly started trading, some for furniture, clothing, or weapons, others for saving. At first, deciding how much a coin should be worth was tricky. When a little beast girl asked if she could buy a baby with a coin, Hikaru laughed. Instead, he let her be mayor for a day in exchange for her coin, amusing everyone. Soon after, the village held a great feast to celebrate Alfred's birth. People ate, drank, and cheered. Hikaru looked at a giant barrel of wine and laughed, saying he couldn't wait to drink with his son someday. Lu teased him, saying that day might come sooner than he expected. News of Alfred's birth reached the Demon Kingdom. The 4 generals realized they couldn't challenge the Great Tree Village. They thought the only way to maintain peace was to marry someone from the Demon Kingdom into the village. The Demon King immediately shouted in outrage. There was no way Yuri would ever be married off to that village. The next day, Hikaru woke up feeling slightly hungover. The village girls came to him with urgent news. A group of about 100 people from a nearby forest had asked to move into the village after being driven from their homes by war. Hikaru realized building a new village for them would be a huge task. Lou suggested calling it Great Tree Village, too. The villagers didn't mind the work and were excited to help. Plans were quickly set in motion to start building the new village.